Book 3, Chapter 1. Return to Ndojeni. The engine streams and whistles over the grasslands. The white, flat hills of the mines drop behind, and the country rolls away as far as the eye can see. They sit all together, Khumalo and the little boy on his knee, and the little boy has asked for his mother, but Khumalo tells him that she has gone away, and he does not ask anymore. Darkness falls, and they thunder through the night. As the sun rises, they wind down the greatest hills of all to Pietermaritzburg, the lovely city. Here they enter another train, and the train runs along the valley where the tribes live, and the soil is sick, and the people tell Khumalo that the rain will not fall. They cannot plow, plant, or plant, and there will be hunger in this valley. They enter the last train that runs beside the lovely road that goes into the hills. Many people know him, and he is afraid of their questions. They talk like children, these people, and it is nothing to ask. Who is this person? Who is this girl? Who is this child? Where do they come from? Where do they go? They will ask, how is your sister? How is your son? So he takes his holy book and reads it to prevent their questions. The sun is setting over the great valley of Umzumkulu behind the mountains. His wife is there and a friend to help the Umfundisi with his bags. He goes to his wife quickly. She looks her question and he says to her, our son is to die. Perhaps there may be forgiveness, but let us not talk of it now. I understand you, she says, and Gertrude, all was ready for her to come. But when I went to wake her, she was gone. And this is a small boy, and this is our new daughter. Khumalo's wife lifts the small boy and kisses him. You are my child, she says. She puts him down and takes the girl in her arms and says to her, you are my daughter. Khumalo shakes hands with his friends and they set out on the narrow path that leads into the valley of Ndojeni. Here a man calls, Umfundisi, you are back. It is a good thing. And here a woman says to another, look, it is the Umfundisi that has returned. A child comes into the path. We are glad that the Umfundisi is here again, she says. The path is dropping into the red land of Ndojeni. It is a wasted land, a land of old men and women and children, but it is home. The corn hardly grows to the height of a man, but it is home. It is dry here, Umfundisi. We cried for rain. I have heard it, my friend. Our corn is nearly finished, Umfundisi. It is known to God alone what we shall eat, and the stream has been dry for months, Umfundisi. Where do we get water then? The women must go to the river Umfundisi that comes from the place of Jovis. At the name of Jovis, Khumalo feels fear and pain, but he makes himself say, how is Jovis? He returned yesterday, Umfundisi. I do not know how he is, but his wife returned some weeks ago, and she is sick thin. They do not speak again, and the path runs past their hearts. In the half darkness, one voice calls to another in some far distant place. If you are a Zulu, you can hear what they say, but if you are not, even if you know the language, you wouldn't find it hard to know what is being called. Some white men called it magic, but it is no magic. It is Africa, the beloved country. They call that you are returned, Umfundisi. I hear it, my friend. They are satisfied. The call comes from the hearts and the hills. Umfundisi, you have returned. There is a lamp outside the church, and as Khumalo and his wife approach, the men and women there lift their voice into a song of thanks to God for his kindness. And Khumalo must pray. He prays loudly with people. God, we give thanks. God, give us rain. And at last, and God, my son, forgive him his evil. It is done. It is out, the hard thing that was feared. The Lord keep you and give you peace now and forever. And the love of God be with you now and forever. They rise and they sing a new song. God save Africa. Yes, God save Africa, the beloved country. God save us from fear. God save us all. The people have gone now, and Kumalo turns to his friend. There are things that I must tell you. My sister Gertrude was to come with us, but when I went to wake her, she was gone, and my son, he is to be hanged. You may tell your friends, it is not a thing that can be hidden. I do not know if I should stay here. Why, Umfundis? What with a sister who has left her child and a son who has killed a man? Who am I to stay here? Umfundis, it must be what you desire. But I tell you that there is not one man or woman that would desire it. There is not one man or woman here that has not been sorry for you, that is not satisfied that you are returned. Why could you not see? I have seen, and it has touched me. It is something. After all that has been suffered, I have lived so long here. I could not desire to leave it, and I have learned a secret. Pain and suffering, they are a secret. Kindness and love, they are a secret. But I have learned that kindness and love can pay for pain, suffering. There is my wife, and you, my friend, and these people who welcomed me, and the child who is so eager to be with us in Dojane. So in my suffering I can believe. Kumalo walked to his little house. When the girl had gone to bed, Kumalo gave Msimangu post office book to his wife. She opened it and cried out when she saw that there was 30 pounds in it. It is ours, she asked. It is ours, he said. It is a gift from the best man of all my days. Sit down, and I shall tell you about Msimangu and about other matters. She sat down trembling. I am listening, she said. Chapter 2. Milk for the Children. Kumalo began to pray regularly in his church for the restoration of Ndojane, but he knew that was not enough. Men must come together and do something. He went to see the chief and asked him to help, but the chief was old and had no useful word to say. So Kumalo went out again into the heat to seek the headmaster of the school. But the headmaster shook his head and talked about economic causes and said that the school was a place of little power. Sad and tired, Kumalo walked back again to his house, and suddenly he caught his breath in surprise, for there was a small white boy on the red horse. A small white boy as like to another who had ridden here as any could be. The boy smiled at Kumalo and said, "Good morning." "Good morning," said Kumalo. "It is a hot day for riding." The boy got off his horse, and they talked as an old man and a young child do talk, with many questions. And the boy proudly used some Zulu words. "That is right," said Kumalo. "Would you like a drink of water? You are hot." "I would like a drink of milk," said the boy. "There is no milk in Dojane." The small boy said quietly, "I would like water, Umfundis." Kumalo brought him the water and asked him, "How long are you staying here?" "Not very long, Umfundis. These are not our real holidays now. We are here for special reasons." And Kumalo said in his heart, "Our fatherless child, I know your reasons." "Why is there no milk in Dojane?" asked the boy. "What do the children do?" Kumalo looked at him. "They die, my children." "Doesn't the doctor come?" "Yes, and he says the children must have milk." And the small boy said in a small voice, "I see." He walked to his horse. "Goodbye, Mfundisi." The night brought coolness. While they were having their meal, the friend who had carried the bags came. "I have a message for you from Mr. Jovis." Kumalo had a dull sense of fear. "And come and look what I have brought you." The outside the door was milk in shining cans. "The milk is for small children, and it is to be given by you only. And each morning I shall take back the cans, and in the evening I shall bring them back full. This will be done till the grass comes and we have milk again. Where shall I put the cans, Umfundisi? But Khumalo was silent and stupid. And the man said, God will bless him. And Khumalo nodded. Chapter 3. No forgiveness. Letters come from Johannesburg. There was to be no forgiveness for Absalom. He was to be hanged on the 15th day of that month. Khumalo and his wife read this news and could say nothing to each other. At last, Khumalo lifted his eyes and looked out of the windows. Look, he said, look at the clouds. She came and stood by him and saw the great heavy clouds that were gathering on the other side of Umzumkulu Valley. It will rain, he said. He went out to look at the clouds, then stood there, reading Msimangu's letter. He remained motionless. As he read the last lines again, Father Vincent tells me that Mr. Jovis has given £1,000 to the African Boys Club, of which his son was president. While he stood there, he saw a motor car coming down the road into the valley. Then he saw that not far from the church there was a white man sitting still upon the horse, waiting for the car. It was Jovis. For an hour, Jovis and the men from the car measured distance on the ground and planted sticks in the ground as if they were saving it for some building or other. They had only just finished when the storm broke. The men hurried off in the car, but Jovis saw Khumalo, who had gone to church, and called, Umfundisi, may I stay in your church? So they went into the church, but it was not long before the rain found holes in the old roof, and Jovis had to move to avoid it. It was not until the storm was nearly over that Jovis, without looking at the old man, said, Is there forgiveness? Khumalo took the letter from his pocket with trembling hands, and Jovis read it. I understand, he said. When it comes to the 15th day, I shall remember. Stay well, Umfundisi. He climbed on his horse and rode away. Chapter 4. The dam. The sticks stood where the men had put them, and the word was that the dam was to be built here. It would be filled by a great pipe bringing water from the river at high place. Khumalo's friend told him that Jovis had gone away into Pretoria, and his friend was the business of the dam. One day a young man came to Khumalo's house. You are the Umfundisi. I am the new agricultural demonstrator. Come into the house, said Khumalo, excited. Who sent you to me? Why, the white man who bought me, Mr. Jovis. He is paying me to work here. I come to Ndochen to teach farming, Umfundisi. So the young man told the people how they must stop logging up and down the hills, how they must plant trees. Some must give up their grounds for trees, and some for cattle. But these were hard things to do, because the people must learn that it is harmful for each man to try to earn a living from his own little piece of ground. But the young man was hopeful. Umfundisi, said the young man, there is no reason why this valley should not be what it was before. But it will not happen quickly, not in a day. If God wishes, said Khumalo humbly, before I die, for I have lived my life in destruction. Chapter 5. Mr. Jovis dies. Over the great valley, the storm clouds were gathering again in the heavy heat. Khumalo looked at the sky, and then was surprised to see his friend driving along the road with the milk. You are early, my friend. I am early, Umfundisi, said his friend seriously. We work no more today. The wife of Mr. Jovis is dead. Ow, ow! It is a sorrow, Mr. Jovis. He goes and silent. You know that what sort of man he is. Khumalo went into the house, and with great difficulty wrote a letter. Sir, we are sad here at this church to hear that the mother has passed away. We are certain that she knew of the things you have done for us and did something in it. We shall pray in this church for the rest of her soul and for you also in your suffering. Your faithful servant, Reverend S. Kumar. And the letter came in answer. Umfundisi, I thank you for your message of sympathy and for promise of the prayers of your church. You are right. My wife knew of things that are being done and had the greatest part in it. These things we did in memory of our beloved son. It was one of her last wishes that a new church should be built at Ndojeni, and I shall come to discuss it with you. You should know that my wife was suffering before we went to Johannesburg. Yours truly, James Jovis. Chapter 6. Restoring the Valley. There is plonging in Ndojeni, and indeed on all the farms around it, but the plonging goes slowly because the young demonstrator tells the men they must no longer go up and down. They must throw up walls of earth and plong round the hills so that the fields look no longer as they used to look in the old days of plonging. There has been much silence and much discontent. No one was more dissatisfied than those who had to give up their fields. But there is something new in this valley, some spirit and some life and much to talk about in the heart. Although nothing has come yet, something is here already. You can be proud, said Kumalo to the young demonstrator, for there is a new life in this valley. I have been here for many years, but I have never seen plonging with such spirit. It is not only these rains, there is hope here, such as I have never seen before. You must not expect too much, said the young man anxiously. I do not expect much this year. The corn will be a little higher, but the soil is poor indeed. How long will it be before the trees are ready? Many years. Tell me, Umfundis, do you think the people will bear the winter for 7 years? Have courage. Both the chief and I are working for you. I am impatient for the dam, said the demonstrator. When the dam is made, there will be water for the fields. There will be milk in this valley. It will not be necessary to take the white man's milk. Kumalo looked at him and where would we without the white man's milk? He asked. Where would we be without all that this white man has done for us? Where would you be also? Would you be working for him here? It is true, I am paid by him. I am not ungrateful. Then you should not speak so, said Kumalo coldly. I understand you, said the young man. This man is a good man and I respect him. Umfundis, I worked here with all my heart because I work for my country and my people. I could not work so for any master. It was the white man who gave us so little land. It was the white man who took us away from the land to go to work. And if this valley were restored, as you are always asking in your prayers, do you think it would hold all the people of the tribe if they returned? I do not know indeed, but I know, Umfundis, we can restore this valley for those who are here. But when the children grow up, there will again be too many. Some will have to go still. And Kumalo was silent, for having no answer. We work for Africa, said the young man, not for this man or that man, not for a white man or black man, but for Africa. The young man went into the house, and Kumalo stood for a moment in the dark, where the stars were coming out over the valley that was to be restored, and that for him was enough. He was too old for new uncomfortable thoughts. He turned and followed the young man into the house. Chapter 7. The dawn has come. This was the 14th day. Kumalo said to his wife, I am going up into the mountain, And she said, I understand you, for twice before he had done it. Once when the small boy Absalom was very sick, and once when he had thought of giving up his work as the priest to run a native store at Donnybrook for money then the church could ever pay. Would you come with me? He said, for I do not like to leave you alone. I cannot come, for the girl is near her time, and who knows when it will be, but you must certainly go. She made him a bottle of tea and few heavy cakes of corn. He took his coat and stick and walked up the path that went to the mountain. Now it was almost dark, and he was alone. But as he started to climb the path that ran through the great stones, a man on a horse was there, and a voice said to him, It's you, Umfundis. It is I, Mr. Jovis. Well met, Umfundis, for here in my pocket I have a letter for the people of your church. And the church, Umfundisi. Do you desire a new church? Kumalo could only smile. There were no words in him. The plans will soon come to you, and you say if they are what you desire, I am anxious to do it quickly, for I shall be leaving this place. Kumalo stood shocked, and although it was dark, Jovis understood him, for he said quickly, I shall be often here. You know I have worked in Dojin, but I am alone in my house, so I am going to Johannesburg to live with my daughter-in-law and her children. You know the small boy. Indeed, I know him. Is he like him? He is like him. There is a brightness inside him. Yes, yes, that is true. The other was the same. They stayed there in silence till Jovis said, Umfundisi, where are you going at this hour? Kumalo answered, I am going into the mountain. I understand you. I understand completely. Jovis stretched his hand over the valley and he said, One thing is that to be finished, but here is something that is only begun, and while I live, it will continue. Umfundis, go well. Sir, do not go before I thank you, said Kumal. For the young men and milk, and now for the church, I give it willingly, said Jovis. Go well, Umfundis. Throughout this night, stay well. And Kumalo cried after him, Go well, go well. He climbed to the summit and found a place sheltered from the winds. He began to pray. He prayed for Gertrude, the people of Shantytown. He gave thanks to God for kindness of Simang and Vanda Vincent and Miss Litebe and the white man Jovis, for the welcome of the people who he returned to Ndojeni, and for the work of restoration now began. Why was it given to one man to have so much of his pain charged into gladness? He woke suddenly, and he woke suddenly. It was cold. He thought of his son Absalom. Would he be woken, or he be awake? Would he be able to sleep? This night before the morning, he cried out, My son, my son, my son. When he woke again, there was a faint charge in the east, and now it was time to be awake, for it might be they had woken his son and called him to make ready. He found another place where he could look to the east, and if it was true that men said when the sun came up over the edge it would be done, and the east became lighter and lighter, till he knew that the time was not far off. And when he expected it, he rose to his feet and took off his hat and laid it down on the earth and put his hands together. And while he stood, the sun rose in the east. Yes, it is the dawn that has come. The Titihoya wakes from sleep and goes about its work of forlorn crying. The sun touches the tops of the mountain. The great valley of Umzumkul is still in the darkness, but the light will come there. Ndojeni is still in darkness, but the light will come there also, for it is a dawn that has come, as it has come for thousands centuries, never failing. But when the dawn will come of our release from the fear of slavery and the slavery of fear. Why that is a secret. That is the end of the Cry Beloved book. For book 1, check on the description or check on my channel on the playlist audiobook. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video and share the video.